So this is an extra special treat. If you've listened to What's on Tap Radio and you've tuned into our podcast, which is sponsored by Cask Branding, thank you, Rodney Campbell. It's caskbranding.com. You know that we like to put in little Easter eggs every now and then, whether it's us talking during breaks or maybe somebody doing karaoke. We've had a lot of karaoke on the show, but this is the first, Chad. This is the first. Omar Viengar, dear good friend of ours from Southern Star Brewing Company, said, you know what, I've been practicing getting into stand-up comedy, which is something I could never do because, no. A, I'm not funny, and then B, like, nobody just wants to see me.
I can't do it because, no.
But Omar approached us, and he was like, I would like to practice my set. And I was like, you know what?
Break the ice.
Let's do it. So, like, we've done the karaoke. Chad and I will sit back and chuckle and laugh as Omar Viengar humors us with some of his comedy.
Muses from one Omar Viengar, Southern Star Brewing Company.
I really like, and I hope they have a laugh track with this because not that this is scary, but this is a huge thing for me as a stammerer, stutterer, part of that club. Going on stand-up is not part of my act because my punchlines really don't have any timing whatsoever. But I got to tell you that I've done this I've done this twice when I was 21 and 22 at a bar called Parrots Pub. Back in the day when I didn't drink craft beer, I actually frequented that bar. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, I decided, you know what? I had this epiphany. I'm going to do stand-up. So I got up and I did my set at 2 o'clock in the morning. I really thought that I would kill it because at 2:30 in the morning, I thought that everyone would be half drunk and lit up enough to laugh. Well, that was a sad joke waiting to happen because I did not make anyone laugh. So I was a glutton for punishment. I didn't do it just one time, but I did it twice. Still, both times did not make anybody laugh. And at that moment, it just took me back. And so I didn't want to repeat the same mistake twice. So I started to do research. I'm like, okay, so let's start from what comedians wore. I'm a portly kind of guy weighing in as a little light of a Pakistani fellow at 285 pounds. I don't mind sharing that. But I did notice everything about fat comedians. They all wore Hawaiian shirts. And they look extremely unemployed. Being in craft beer, we all look unemployed half the time anyway. We all weigh a whopping 200 plus pounds, and so I felt like I was in great company, And so I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then I was staring off into space, and it just reminded me of my childhood. I was really thinking about it. Not often does a half Irish, half Pakistani boy grow up in a single wide trailer house in Spring, Texas, right? And, no one does that at all. And but I was not unlike any other boy out there. I really wanted to date, but I had such a serious stammer that I honestly couldn't get the words out to ask any girl out, and here's why. First of all, the windows in my trailer house did not open, and my mom chain smoked 4 packs a day. So not only was I harassed by every principal and counselor asking me, a 7th grader, to stop chain smoking before I came to school, that was not the cologne that I would want. And then not only that, I stuttered, I was fat. Oh, I'm sorry, I was husky. It was the 80s. And so from that point, and I thought, I just need to round all this off. I really need to play an instrument. And so we go to H&H Music, if you remember that old closed-down joint. And I walked in, and I saw a violin. I've always wanted to play a violin, like Yanni. It was just awesome. I wanted to. I don't think he played the violin, but whatever, inside joke. And so my mom comes out, and she wore her moo-moo and curlers everywhere. Remember, it was the 80s. And so I do not have a deep Southern accent, so I'm going to have to channel my inner mom. Now, Omar, I only have $6 a month for this instrument. And by the way, I'm not taking you to your practices. That's why I didn't achieve anything until my high school years, because she refused to take me to anything that would promote self-encouragement better, like anything ever. And so what was there? I had to get a discount for a baritone tuba. Let's recount why I don't date. I smell like Joe Camel. I stutter. I'm husky. And now I play the baritone tuba. I was not dating ever. And furthermore, I was really into AC/DC, which confused a lot of people. But so, and then from that standpoint, I was like, that's fine. I don't need to date. I don't need to date at all. So I put off dating for about, 17 years or so, but it really wasn't important to me at the time. So I thought, I'm going to join the Navy. I'm finally going to be a soldier. And even then, I was not popular. I think I was born not popular on purpose, because God was waiting for his perfect timing to make me popular. His timing is not mine, but I really wish his timing was more when I felt like it mattered in high school and junior high. So I joined the Navy. I lose about 100 pounds, come back, and I'm finally thinking that I'm really cool. But unfortunately, the Navy didn't help me either. So before I joined the Navy, I really wanted to become a firefighter. I really wanted it. I watched Backdraft, and I could see myself as Kurt Russell blazing through naval ships with a girl on each side. But yeah, remember, I'm not popular. So I took this awesome test called the ASVAB. And the ASVAB, in essence, is pretty much a test that tells you how smart you are, or basically how smart that you're not. So when I got this test back, it pretty much put me on the same level as a toddler. I really wasn't qualified to do anything, especially nothing mechanically. So they said, Omar, we have some bad news for you. We really can't put you in the job role of D-Seaman, or, yeah, I said D-Seaman, so no Navy jokes. But also, I cannot put you as a firefighter, but we have a perfect job for you. Aviation machinist mate. Do you know what those guys do? They fix aircrafts for a living. I fixed $20 million aircraft. I was not qualified enough to stomp on a fire, but I was more qualified enough to fix an airplane and then put a living person into it. So, but that's okay. That is military intelligence at its finest. So now, and there's a lot to my life, but the one thing I want to talk to you about is about my dear wife. We started off really, really rocky. We've got a wonderful marriage now. We celebrated 12 years of marriage. We've been together for 14. We've got 3 kids, 1 on the way. Super, super blessed. But it wasn't always like that. I met her at a baby shower, and her aunt said, "You'd be perfect for Omar." And I'm not sure why she thought that, because my wife was a sweet, Christian, innocent woman that I had to explain a lot of things to later, and me, bad credit, smoked stogies, and still stuttered. And so basically we go on our first date, and so she's trying to get to know me. And so she says, "Well, tell me about pornography." That's an interesting first question to be asked by a first date. I'm like, oh, she's serious. I'm like, pornography, it's awesome if you're single. Great safe sex. I mean, what else are you gonna do? And then she said, that's interesting. And so tell me about strip clubs. And I said, well, strip clubs, well, that's an interesting thing. They're really, really expensive. And then she said, not because they're morally wrong. I'm like, oh, well, that too. So, and I figured that was strike 1, 2, and 3 on. And then so we're sitting in my car at this point. I lean over to kiss her, and she says, no. I'm like, really? It went right back to high school. I was rejected by a lot of girls, so this was not uncommon to me, honestly. And so I said, hey, things are going great, right? And she says, you think? I'm like, okay. So she exits my car, she gets in her car, and she drives away. And then at that point, I'm like, well, that's it. Good job, Captain Obvious. Why don't you answer some more stupid questions while you're at it? So she calls me and says, I feel like God told me that if I didn't call you, I would never hear from you again. And I said, you're probably right, because I can only be told no 50 times before I know that I'm not wanted. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for this set. I appreciate the practice, and you guys have a great day.
Oh, Omar Viengar, Southern Star Brewing Company.
Thank you guys very much.
Very good, man.
Thank you very much.
Learned a lot from Omar there.
Stones.
Yeah.
He's throwing it out there, man. He's putting it down.
I feel like you and I have a lot in common in our high school days.